Hello and welcome to coverage of a great match here between Team Takes and Debevoise. I'm excited to be your narrator today and guide us through the games here. I noticed that both teams' average strength is about my same strength. I'm about expert strength, so this should be pretty interesting. Some other context that may be useful to know. Both teams are pretty high up in the ranks right now. Amazon Takes is number 5, and then Debevoise is at number 6. And then some other context may be interesting here as well is that Takes is a huge favorite to win this right now. Their average rating is 2,100. So now I'm just gonna kind of talk through these games and hopefully learn some things myself sort of in the process. So let's see here. We have this one here is Brian Josh versus Eric Rubenstein. So this is a game 1 match here. Let me go ahead and switch this around. Gonna try to keep tabs on what game we're watching and all that good stuff here. Okay, I believe it's this one here. So again, on the left, Brian Josh here is on the team that's big favorite to win. And it looks like he does have a lead in this one. Let's take a look at what's happening here. So the king's weak. We have an attack on the c3 pawn. Over here is good. Trading away some rooks when he's up in material, it looks like. No, he's not up in material. It's even right now. He just has an advantage in development, essentially. This could still go either way. So if takes, you can't take right here now because of knight takes here. He does take right there anyway, though. What's going to be his follow-up? Maybe bring the knight in like so. It's difficult to play this as black, but it's saying we can go, oh, knight takes d4 would have won, because after pawn takes, and you can go rook to c1 check, and you pick up the rook. Looks like that was missed by Brian Josh, and now it's going to give Team Debevoise a chance to maybe win this one. Slight advantage now. Knight circles back to e8. Maybe this pawn can appear into f4. Ay. Whoops. Just lost the bishop there. Yikes. So it takes back there. Both players have about a minute and 45. So decent prospects of flagging the other player. Probably just knight right back. And then as white here, you got to be thinking, how can I try to make this complicated? How can I try to make it difficult for them to win it? White does have a couple of knights, so you can try to complicate matters that way. And let's see here if the score is updated. All right, Team Takes has a 1 point. Like I said, they are the favorite to win this, so it should be probably about 11-5, I would guess, total. I like this setup right here. 2 knights just posted up into e4. This knight is nice right here, but it's about to be ejected away by f6. c4, trying to open things up. Sure. Except for that loses a pawn, it looks like. Takes. You can go take on d4 now. Yikes, even better. Just grabbing this, I suppose. Trading away, guys. As black runs out of pawns here, though, it's going to be kind of hard to convert this. So this is a nice plan here by Eric, trying to trade away some more pawns. Black is, of course, aware of this and has to look for some way to make sure that he doesn't get in a drawn endgame. Has to preserve a couple of these guys. The knight is low on squares, but has enough to get out of the way there. So now maybe black can go here, try to get his king in. I would say this one's pretty much a slam dunk for black, except for the time factor may cause an issue. And there's always a chance that there gets some sort of lucky fork or something with that knight. Check the score again. Still just 1-0, so plenty of games in progress, looks like. White's going to have to play faster. to give me a chance of coming back here. And then I would switch to another game, but these ones are they're all so close to being done that probably wouldn't make sense to switch just yet. So if I'm playing black here, I'm trying to think about how to promote this pawn. This king's going to be slowing it down potentially. It'd also be great to just trade off a couple of pieces. He's up by 4 points, so this should be a slam dunk. Bishop to e3, guarding this pawn, of course. Now there's ideas coming right here. Knight to e5, I like this, kind of keeping the king out for a second. Knight d4. Okay, so attacking the bishop there. Bishop's going to run away. White goes right here, again trying to trade some pawns. Good strategy here. Takes, takes. And then now, wait a second, can we get rid of this pawn maybe? The issue is that if takes and then takes, ooh, that should do it. Yeah, this is going to be really easy to win now. That's resignable. GG. Yep, he does give that one up. That's going to do it for that round. Let's see if the score is updated. Oh, looks like this kind of lagging behind there a little bit. That's all right, though. Let's see what we got for round 2. Forget that. Rock is tired versus Clever Knight. Okay, so this is still a round 1 matchup. Mate in just a couple of moves, though. This is on board 3. So if we go like this and this, we got that. And they do throw on the towel there, and that's gonna end it for all those rounds there, it looks like. With all those rounds now finished, we're gonna be jumping into round number 2 here. And then let's take a look at the top board. Let's do that one. It's going to be Frankovic, the top board on Amazon takes against the I don't know, maybe third board on Debevoise. Their game hasn't started quite yet. I'm going to switch over to that one when I can. Restart my link, see if that helps as well. So the only game in progress so far is a different one. I suppose since it's kind of lagging behind, I might as well switch to this. So Rock is tired versus Onus. So that's going to be board 4. Like this. Yeah. Game number 2. So in this matchup here, this could be a great chance for Team Debevoise to kind of make a stand. These players are evenly paired, evenly matched up, about 1900. So this could be a great chance for them to get a win, much needed win here. They're down right now, 3-1. They got to do better in this round. So A4 is in play. All right, so black actually is looking quite a bit better. This attack is just quite a bit further along than white's attack. Both players going for each other's kings here. Knight's going to take here on H2. And so black now has a big advantage after this move. And so looks like Onus is going to win. And he's again playing for team takes. So this is going to be a big letdown for Rock is tired, who definitely needed this win. Is there any hope here as white? Well, he's going to try to hang on with pawn to F3, so queen H1, king F2, and black just has a massive advantage here. White's attack is nowhere near as strong, so we'll have to see what happens next. A bit of a late start for Frankovic versus Eric Rubenstein. Not quite sure what's happening there. How do we get to this position? Oh, it was a French exchange, looks like. Yep. So, right about here was still even. Where did they really mess up? This move wasn't so great, I suppose. Taking the bishop. This kind of allowed for black's pieces to come out with vigor. And then you don't want to grab this way, I suppose. Queen to d3 would have been a little better after takes. It was best to neutralize the attack by trading away queens, waiting this pin. So if it takes right here and then queen to h7, this is where it really started to just look really, really good for black. Now we're at this part of the game, and short of a big blunder, I would say this is a landslide advantage now for team takes. Yeah, let's refresh the page, see if we have any new results listed. Nope. Alrighty, so then what other games have we got in progress? Let's take a look at maybe this one. That's a big rating difference there. Just look at it though briefly here. This is sort of the weak link of Team Debevoise. And so just a really big imbalance here in their ratings. 2100 to that 1300. Let's try to find a closer one. So Clever Knight versus Elisa, who is the top board for Team Debevoise. Let's see what's happening here. This is game 2. So Clever Knight. 4-3. There we go. All right, so who's got the lead here? It's pretty even. Pretty even. Oh, board 1 has started for that other matchup. Bishop here to g5. How did this game get started? Another French defense, looks like. Okay, let's see. So we go like this. French defense, standard stuff. Taking here is kind of weird, isn't it now? I guess it's still playable because you can go b4 after. Interesting. Castles, b4 is another idea. Goes right here, and then knight b to d2 would have been a little better. Bishop g5 is unwarranted due to like h6, which Clever Knight does find. And then after right here, g5 is looking really good. Let's see if he finds it now. Anything but g5, and he's going to be at a big disadvantage. I'm going to spin this around. I'm a French player, I like looking at this stuff. So if I'm playing black here, I'm definitely thinking about g5. But you could also just castle. And so it's going to be hard to evaluate over the board whether or not a move like pawn g5 is going to be good or not. This could be the kind of move where afterwards you really regret it. So he's taking his time. It's a super committal decision. Looks like it is the way to go, though. g5, bishop back, and then knight to f5. Bishop takes, e takes f5, now threatening to go pawn a4. He doesn't go for it. He plays a little bit safer, goes to move a5, preventing b4. I think that was probably that was the second best option. Pretty practical choice there to go with that. Elisa quickly playing knight b to d2. And now again, actually, g5 is still a good move. Bishop to a7 is another idea here. But as it turns out, you really don't want to castle or go here. All right, so this is allowing for white to have a little bit of an advantage. Bishop g3, just guarding this pawn now is going to be a good move here. Again, g5 and knight to f5 was going to be a little bit better in that situation. Knight comes into b3, hitting the bishop. Bishop retreats. bishop can now take on e7 or go to g3, rook to e1, good developing move. We still have a pretty balanced game here. Knight comes into d4, so now it looks like black can just take this. C takes, and again the computer's advocating for the move g5. Such a hard move to commit to in a blitz game. Black's also hesitant to castle here. Sometimes the king can be safer sort of in the center, blocked by pieces and these pawns up here. If it goes over to the king side, based on the bishop bearing down against it as well as the queen, it's going to be pretty tough. So black's thinking on this one now. Again, looks like knight takes is going to be the best. This is a pretty close matchup. Let me just see real quick if there's any really interesting games. Ooh, I think this one would qualify as really interesting. Ooh, I might have to switch. Nah, we'll stick with this one. We got plenty of momentum here and whatnot. Spin this one around. Takes, takes. So still a pretty even game. Again, this is board one over here for Team Debevoise. Let's see what happens next. Queen comes to b6, hitting both b2 and d4. Queen to g4 now is a great way to keep the pressure on, hitting g7 and also helping to help guard the d4 square. Queen takes a4, not as good. It looks like now black's going to have an easier time getting castled here. Another tempting move, though, looks like is knight takes, and knight takes right here, opening up this discovered attack. So it's going to be pretty tough to find that here, that you're supposed to ignore all that and just castle. I suppose, you know what the thing is, though? If takes right here, rook takes on c8, when the bishop can't take back due to this pin, is going to be pretty devastating. Black goes in for this free capture right here of a pawn, but he's going to fall behind, though, now after queen takes, knight takes, rook takes, bishop takes, and then rook c1. When white's two bishops and control over the open c file are going to make up for an advantage there. Looks like Elisa does find that, going in for those trades. Let's see if the score has been updated or not. Let's check this out. Yep, Amazon takes does have 4-1 now. So I believe that if they get 9, that's going to be decisive. Again, these teams are ranked number 5 and number 6 out of a roster of 36 teams. So these are some of the best teams competing right here. Bishop comes to d7, so plenty of chances here for both sides still. And the knight here, you know, it can be kind of good in blitz to have a knight like this. Ooh, bishop b5 right now would be great, trading away a bad bishop for a good bishop. And then also, since white has the two bishops right now, anytime you can swap off a couple of those, that's going to be helpful for you. Knight to b5 or bishop b5 again is going to be a decent bet in this position. They do go with knight to b5. Now pawn to a4 retains the advantage here for white. Otherwise, rook to c1, for instance, is going to be met by rook to a8. Attacking that a pawn resulted in an even position. They do go rook to c1, so this is maybe going to have a chance for black to turn this around now. Rook to a8. So to win this, Debevoise is going to need to win 8 more games. They've only won 1 so far. It's going to be nearly impossible, but it's all right because both these teams are still going to the playoffs, and this is just a great chance to learn, you know, by playing a stronger team. Rook to a8 kind of plays itself. I'm a little bit curious why they're taking their time on that move. This game could quite possibly be heading towards a draw. Let me just kind of skim some of these other ones here. Wow, quite a bit of activity now. It's a pretty uneven matchup here. Looks like this is a master against a B-class player. So it looks like just no contest. If we had some viewers in the chat, I would ask you guys which ones you want to do, but we're just cruising solo tonight. Rook to c5. All right, so attacking right here. Looks like takes right here is going to be the best. Why is that the case? Because after bishop takes, rook takes, you can go right here and then pick up the bishop here, and then it's going to be a drawn rook endgame. However, because the rook does grab this, it's going to be interesting. Black still has a passed pawn of their own, though. I was reading a chess book recently talking about how there's this common belief that all rook endgames are drawish, and the author went through and analyzed the probability of getting an endgame, getting a draw based on different endgames, whether it's a queen or a bishop or a rook or just kings and pawns. And he was able to show that it's really statistically no more likely that you get a draw in rook endgames than other endgames, which is really interesting. Kind of disagreeing with common wisdom about that. So, there's still plenty of chances, I suppose, for both sides. I'd probably be a little bit more comfortable here as white, though, right now. This pawn's a bit of a runner. Black is down on time, though, 1:20. Let's see what happens here next. Oh, another result there. I think board 1 just won their game. Okay, so h4 was played, so trying to deflect the king away from this square so they can grab on g2. And it looks like black may be just going for a perpetual here. We'll see if Elise is going to play for the win or not. Although it's going to be pretty tough to do that. Going king g4, for example, to get out of harm's way. Still going to be met by the move rook to c2. And after g3 takes, rook to b2. They do go for it. She does go for it. Makes sense. She is their board 1, so she needs to be able to win some games to give her team some chance of beating the other team here. Rook comes down to c4, making a pin. This is a mistake, it looks like. Better was g3 there. And then now, looks like that gamble is paying off. White does have an advantage after king takes here. Rook takes f4 check, and then pawn g4, offering some shield protection for that king. And then it says king g6, king g3, and then rook comes back to b4, and then pawn to h4, with a couple of pawns here and a king right here. That's looking pretty good. She doesn't find it. She goes for this one, king to g5. Now it's saying rook back to b2 is gonna be closer to equality. Pawn to d4, going for it themselves. Both players now have a minute left on their clock. King g5 kind of plays itself here, guarding the pawn. They're going to go rook right here, though, aiming to just get that draw, essentially. And then after takes, this really should be a draw at this point. I'm going to call this one a wrap. Let's move on to another one here. So this is Onus against Eric Rubenstein. All right, so this should be probably at game 3, I'm guessing. Yep, and this is board 4. And here we go. See if there's an update to the score. 6-1 now. Yep. As predicted, of course, takes is taking the lead here in this match. Needs only to win 3 more games to secure their victory in this match. All right, so we got underway here. This is an even game now. Let's check out what's happening. E4, E5, so just standard Italian game. D4 takes. Attacking the E-pawn, knight defends the E-pawn. Bishop right here, queen D2, knight E5 hitting the bishop. And then here, C5 is kind of strange looking. Yeah, this isn't so good. This creates a backwards pawn. Knight to F3, H3 guarding against right here. A little bit slow. Probably looks like, yeah, knight takes E5. Pawn takes back was going to be a little bit better there. Takes. And then castles now, so a pretty exciting game is now underway. Black's position is a little bit better here. Got a big head start with this pawn storm here. Okay, so knight comes into D5. Great little outpost for that knight. Sadly, it's going to be hassled by this bishop here, though, aiming to take that knight. Bishop E6 is another alternative move. There's also the prospect of taking here on F2. A kind of free pawn. However, in opposite side castling positions, you generally don't want to go for that. He's going for it, though. He's going to grab that pawn. Bishop takes B5. What on earth? Oh, trying to do a discovery here. But the thing is, after pawn takes, rook takes right here. That was bad. That was real bad. No, not bishop here. Get out. Oh, my gosh. You're supposed to take and then take right here. Come on. Looks like this game we were talking about earlier did end in a draw. So what was once a big advantage for black is now neutralized a little bit into a bit of a oh no, my beautiful match score is going to be ruined now because the 0.5. Hold on a second. I got to fix this now. Cool. It is now fixed. Okay, so then we have bishop to E5 is looking good, so is bishop to B7. And although it's a very dynamic position, it's really, the engine's really saying it's just about equal. Yeah, I'd prefer to be white here for sure. Rook to F3, also B3 kind of proactively guarding against the B2 pawn. Black does have the 2 bishops, but white's control of the center is really felt here now. Also, his rooks are active, whereas black only has 1 active rook. This one is still not in the game. Bishop comes back here to E5. And then it's saying B3 to help fortify the square for the knight and also block this B file is going to be a good move here. C3, decent but not as good as B3. Queen G5 now looks like a good move. After which white should just kind of go for this. And then Debevoise here once again is trailing behind. I would say at this point they're probably not trying to really win the match. They're just trying to do their best in their games that they can. They're both going to be in the playoffs, and so this is just a good chance for them to sort of train and everything. And it's an excellent demonstration by Takes to represent their rating. Strong average rating within the group there at 2105. So queen comes down there to A5, now takes, and then pawn takes gives black a little bit of an edge. So that wasn't actually the best strategy there. After takes on f8 and then takes right back. Black now has control over this. Let's go back a second here. It says the proper plan here was to go queen to d3, just helping to guard here, I suppose, a little bit. And then also attacking a6. And then after rook f to e8, go rook to f2. That's interesting. That's tough to see. But definitely black is looking good now and takes on a2. Crashing through. This could be a nice upset for Eric Rubenstein here. Let's see what happens next. So takes right here is a must. Yep. And so now white is definitely hoping to get a draw. Surely they cannot be playing for a win here quite as much. Black is way ahead now in this attack. So queen to d6, exerting pressure on all these pawns. This one's threatened. This one's threatened. That looks pretty good. Queen d7, not as good. The queen needed to guard b8. Now rook to b8 is crushing. What was he thinking? I think he wasn't thinking. Rook b8. Come on, Eric. Yes, he finds it. Nice one. I think we got an upset. Eric's going to take him down. So hard to find a move now as white. There's just not going to be any good way to meet this. The problem is if rook to d2 to guard right here, queen comes down to a1, king goes up to c2, now blocking that rook's pathway here, and then takes on b2. We might be looking at a resignation here. We'll have to see. He just really got nothing is the problem. b3, what are you going to do? Yep, I think black has won this game. All right, Frankovic, our top board, is still playing against this player over here. Let's see how Frankovic plays. This is the strongest player in this group of 8. I haven't spent too much time on his games. Let's go ahead and do that. This is still a round 3 game. And it's going to be board 1. So these players right here. Okay, I'm going to spin this around, view it from the vantage point of our MVP of the evening here. Let's go back to the beginning. Oh, you know what? Actually, Rock is Tired may actually win this one. So that would make 2 good upsets in this round. Interesting. All right, so e4, c5, and then like this. Bishop c4 isn't typically a very good way to play against the Sicilian. d4, though, that's good. There. Castles. And then this pawn fork trick apparently wasn't that well advised. Here takes. Knight d7. Yeah, this is looking pretty comfortable for white. But actually, black here can go like e5. Looks like they missed that. I'm trying to catch where white got such a big advantage. Okay, like this and this. Here takes. It's still... Oh, okay, something happened right there. So it was right here. There must have been a critical mistake. Bishop takes was better. Guarding here, helping to guard here, looks like. After queen takes, bishop takes right here. Bishop e6. This was the big blunder here. Interesting. Why was this such a big blunder? It says the best move here for black is to take like this. When after takes, now you can go queen to d1. So after takes, then queen to b7 is going to be best, in which case black has the advantage of of a knight and a bishop against a rook. Not having seen that, they go back like this. Now after queen takes b7, white does have now a nice lead due to their extra exchange. So this is Rock is Tired. This is his chance to beat a master. Let's see if he can do it. I'm sure Frankovic is mildly panicking right now, trying to figure out how to salvage this. Some weeks you just get a tired vibe. I feel like everybody's just tired this week. Knight takes b4. All right, so white's still got a really nice lead right now. Let's spin this around. Excuse me. Let's spin this around here. So Debevoise definitely needs a win like this. They're going to win this match. Takes right here. What a mess. Oh, my goodness. All right, so we have, we're up 3 points right now. And then white can not play right here. Oh, my goodness, I'm tired. What's happening here? Yeah, if white takes right here, then the queen's going to take this way. So the best move is to go queen to b5, creating a pin. He does find it. Nice. All right, this is going to be a big lead right now. He's up the value of 8 points. 8. More than 7, less than 9. I don't know. So, if you're Frankovic here, what are you thinking? How do I get out of this one, right? What a mess. All right, so queen, queen, knight, knight. Oh. Knight comes right here. Now queen takes d3, retains the lead of that. Yep, that guy there. So that's going to be huge. So queen, queen, bishop, bishop, knight, bishop. So we're up by a rook and basically 2 passed pawns. White basically has all of this extra. And black just kind of has the 2 bishops and the queen and just trying to hang on here. Queen takes e3. Nice. Yep. So it's all 4 of these. Well, okay, this one's been taken. So black is now kind of limiting the play to one side of the board. So what's white got to do here now to win this? Takes on g7 can work right now. Wow. Get out. After king takes, queen g5 check. Okay, but what about bishop takes? Then what are you supposed to do? Queen here? Queen g5, nearly just as good. Really interesting. I wonder why bishop takes was good there. Let's see if we have an update on the score here. Nope. Still 6.5 to 1.5. So really nicely played here by Rock is Tired for sure. Takes right here, knock out another pawn, but now switching to this attack. Ooh, this is perfect. Guarding e1, bishop guards right here, bishop attacks right here, knight's attacking g7. Massive, massive attack here. Plenty of good choices now for white. You can go here, here, queen g5. Everything is looking really, really good now. And that advantage of the extra rook is just really being felt. Knight takes g7 also works. Says now queen g6 is going to be the best. Frankovic does now have a chance, though, to potentially flag his opponent here. Rock is Tired is now down to 1866 there. I mean, his rating is down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. Queen to g6. Yeah, looks like knight takes h5 is best. And so now Frankovic has managed to... Oh, really? Seems like you could have played that out some more. Didn't have the steam to do it. Wanted to throw in the towel and get a new game going. Well, who can blame him for that? All right, let's check out this one here. A little bit of an end game. That's a landslide advantage here for white. All right, so we've got an update on the score. It's good upset there. Nice. So round 3, really, really a critical event there. That was really in Debevoise's favor there. So after that now, and then Clever Knight's going to win this game. So that's going to be 7.5 to 3.5. And then, what am I missing? Because there's only one more round. So unless some scores didn't get reported. Yeah, 8.5. Okay, so yeah, Takes did just win this then officially. That upset on board one was neat, but made no difference, it appears. Now on game 4, which game are we looking at now? This is Eric Rubenstein versus Clever Knight. We got to see this one. All right, here we go. This is the grand finale of these two. Unfortunately, going into this game, at least the team captain is of course aware that she cannot pull her team to victory, but is definitely looking to make a stand here against Takes board 1. This is the match to watch. I'm quite interested to see how this one goes. All right, let's update this. Yeah. Cool. Here we go. So we got a modern defense here. That's where you go like D4 or E4, and then they go G6. C5 really early like this. This is a little bit dubious for black. Usually you want to bring out your knight first before you do this. So allowing for this move, white now is going to take over a big center here. And then best now for black is to go like this. And then you see bishop D3, knight C3, and then, takes on D5. It's going to be a good way to go. And then here, plenty of good moves. Knight here, here, knight right here. Any of those are perfectly fine. Bishop E2 is actually not the best. Bishop was better here on D3, stopping F5. Okay, so knight can come here into F6. That move almost kind of plays itself. There's also E6, and you can also go F5 here. But white does have a nice advantage now due to that space advantage right here. Black's got to come up with a plan to sort of attack that center from the side. We'll have to see if they're able to do that here. Elisa now really taking her time. E5. Not quite as good, as it turns out, as going E6, which would aim to trade away a pawn that's kind of okay against this one. And if you look at these now, too, I mean, this one's further advanced. So strategically, it would make sense if you could trade away for this one. This one's not as good as the one on D5. That's why E6 made more sense. Okay, and then now knight to F3. Pawn to F4, aggressive. This can also work, it looks like. Knight D7, knight to F3. There's also H6 or takes. Lots of moves here. That's the thing about the modern defense is that you kind of have a lot of choice for both sides. There's a lot of positional maneuvering that can take place, and subtle differences in those maneuvers and plans can add up to something that can be vastly different game to game. It also makes it pretty hard to prepare against the modern. So A6, now knight to F3. Yep. Bishop G4. And then both players are probably going to castle here. But especially with his F-pawn now, I would definitely prefer to be white here. They do go ahead and castle, and now castles for white. And then how does white really leverage their advantage here? Well, it looks like they can go, queen to E1 for one thing. They can also go just bishop to E3 and develop that guy there. Queen to E1 is played. Now pawn to F5 would be good, allowing for queen to H4 and just a ton of tension mounting in the center. Is going to make this pretty razor sharp here soon, I would imagine. This is an exciting one for sure. Again, all games here in the fourth round make no difference as far as who wins the match. This is merely just a matter of pride. But these are the board ones on both of these teams. So rook to b8. Oh, a little bit off there. Now f5 was the way to go. Rook to b8, just kind of play on the wrong side of the board. Queen to h4 now retains a large advantage for white. Frankovic does find it. And now black's got to be a little more defensive here and go pawn to f6. And certainly should abandon this idea altogether right now, or at least for the moment, of going b5. So we're hoping for f6, stopping this knight to g5 idea. Looks like Elisa perhaps just underestimated the strength of this move. She does find f6, very nice. And so now, it looks like Frankovic has a really exciting sacrifice he can do. This is crazy. He can take right here, and then, no, it's not a sacrifice. Just takes here, knight takes, d takes, and then simply just going rook b1. So nothing crazy. I spoke too fast. Just kind of removing some of the tension here in the center, and then just returning to developing his pieces. Unfortunately for Frankovic, there is no way to really push this attack. Queen to g3. Yeah, not so good, not so good. Should have just taken right here. The purpose of going here is pretty unclear. Kind of aiming at g6, that really just doesn't do a whole lot. E takes f4 is going to be a good move, followed by, after bishop takes, knight into e5, creating a little outpost for that knight and offering some nice protection over d6. An alternative idea is to open things up like crazy and go pawn to f5. They take right there, good move. Bishop takes, of course, knight e5, of course. And now, since this knight is so strong, white might as well just take it and go knight takes e5. And then after dxe, retreat this guy back to e3 and kind of aim at this c5 weakness. No alternative decent move exists. Yeah, a4 wasn't as good. Was much better just to grab this. And now it looks like they should grab it. What is black supposed to do to exploit that? Apparently going knight to f7 would be a good move here for black. Interesting. Moving off of the outpost to guard d6. Crazy. b6 was played though. Both players kind of missing this knight to f7 idea for a while. Once again, knight takes e5 is the way to go. Or perhaps actually looks like h4 is another idea. Both players look a little bit lost here, and I can't blame them. It is hard to make sense of this kind of thing, especially with very little time on your clock. All 4 games from round 4 are still in progress. Frankovic also has an advantage on the clock. However, his advantage on the board has slipped away. Looks like this maneuver right here did just that. It helped him on the clock, but he just lost 2 tempos, kind of for nothing there. But perhaps a practical choice that has, led Frankovic to have this very nice rating of 22-41. Elisa now really under pressure here to come up with something. Queen c7 looks like was best there. Queen to e8, a good try. However, queen to c7, followed by like knight to c8. Looks like a decent strategy there. Also, knight to f7. So both players kind of floundering here to figure out what to do. A lot of life in the position, but not clear. It's definitely not clear what you're supposed to be doing here. Okay, so then now looks like h4 is a good move. So his knight takes e5. Okay, and now in preparation for this battery, this pawn coming up like this, not battery, I don't know why I said that, but sort of like a battery of like a, in the olden day times when they had like a log and they would bust through the castle wall or something, right? But there's a battery here, better in this diagonal. All right, so h5 is going to be the way to go here. Not an easy move to play. Definitely a big commitment there. King h8, much less committal. I would say at least has got to play that move kind of fast. It's one of those positions where h5 might be good. It might also be a disaster. King h8 might be good. It might also be a slight mistake. She does decide to do it. Yep. But now on move 18, with only 2 minutes left on her clock, the likelihood that she's going to blunder is pretty high, and so she's got to get lucky here. Once again, though, I mean, for both players, it is tough to determine the exact right move. There's just so many options. The computers recommend everything between rook to f2 to queen to h2 to b3. I mean, what are you supposed to do with that? Rook f2, and then it's saying the best plan is rook f2, b3, rook a to f1. So to double rooks, speaking of a battery, double rooks and make use of that right there. All right, we'll have to see if they find that here. Frankovic now sinking into the time bank here. Once again, all 4 games to round 4 are still in progress. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite make a difference, but king to h1, a safe-looking bet, perfectly fine. One thing that you may sort of fear here as white is that your advantage may slip away by trading pieces, and so it's kind of hard to find a move like this. However, his advantage has grown now, and as it turns out, bishop c1 was much better. Why is that the case? See, I'm learning things too. This is great. No, it changed its mind. All right, yeah. It said this, yeah, this is just as good. So after right here, yeah, I mean, white's advantage is kind of just slipping away here. It's now back to equality. Pretty interesting and balanced pawn structure happening here. Definitely chances for both sides. I think I would prefer to be Frankovic here, mainly due to the time pressure difference. But since black is on the defensive, it's traditionally quite a bit easier to play defensive moves than attacking moves in this kind of a position anyway. And so she may have a chance to do that. Looks like pawn to a5 or pawn f5. Actually, pawn a5 is much better, it says. Allowing for knight to b5, and then king h7, and then knight to c8, and then going f5. Okay, if f5 right away, then bishop to g5 will be played. Oh, did I miss a few moves? Maybe I did. I don't know. But we're here now, though. Whoa, white's got a big advantage. Whoa, that happened really fast. Oh, my goodness gracious. Hold on. Okay, so we were here. Knight c8. Oh, this is a big blunder. Knight c8. That's a big blunder because of the move a5. Frankovic does not find it, though, and goes here. Knight comes into d6. Now it's more balanced. Here was a mistake. f5 would be good now. King h7 is okay. f5 is critical now. b5 is a huge blunder. This is just not going to cut it because it's c5. Yikes. Ah, that's what she missed there. c5. So takes here first, sure, and then grab here. And this is just bad news bears for Elisa. Looks like Frankovic probably is going to take the win. Now got three three passed pawns over here. 2 more doubled and isolated, but yeah, that's just a massive advantage now. Let's briefly check in and see how these other boards are doing here. So we have Brian, Josh, and Rock is tired. This is board number 2. Big advantage there. I want to try and find something a little more even. Big advantage there. And large advantage there. Yeah, all these are pretty big. All right, let's do this one. Let's see if Frank can do it. Because the thing is, you know, it's still pretty tough to make use of these pawns. It can require some special finesse to figure out how to push them. It's also really tough to make moves as black, though. Yeah, trying to go right here to liberate things seemed like it might be a good idea. However, takes, and you lose the knight. An opportunity which was missed by Frankovic here, but plenty of wiggle room for mistakes like that when he's got a 6-point advantage. Yeah, this one's over. Let's see what else we got here. So This one was also just finished. Clever Knight took the W right there. And then Rock is tired. Okay, so this is an upset here. Let's figure out how Rock is tired won this game. Let's check it out. So we go like this, like that. And we'll refresh this one. $9.5 to $3.5. All right, let me go back. So how to get an advantage here? Sicilian. Kind of a strange Sicilian, sort of like more like an English than anything else. Takes. So where does black get that big advantage? White had an advantage here after f4. Pawn comes like so. f4, knight comes back. Knight e5, h6. Bishop f4. White's looking really, really good here for a long time, so I'm curious where black pulled ahead. d4 also would have gained white a really big advantage there. Takes, and then the advantage starts to slip right here. b5 was a big oversight, I suppose, just allowing the rook into the game. And after takes, rook takes. Oh, this exchange sack was bad, I suppose. But not completely terrible. It had to have been later. This move here, grabbing the pawn. And then here maybe it looks like is where he got, knight to g8. This was kind of a critical turning point. Bishop to f3 was necessary. After right here, knight comes back into g8. And then using this pin, he's got an advantage. What? Did he drop his queen? He dropped his queen. Yeah. And that's going to be GG. That's going to do it for today, guys. All right, so congrats to Team Takes. They do take the W here with, I think, 11.5 to 3.5. Very convincing finish. Great job to all players. And we got playoffs starting next week. So keep your tactics sharp. Review your openings. Kick some butt. See you guys later. Ciao.